Real easy,
Yeah, that
Joseph.
sounds good.
If you don't mind, and see, make sure we got everybody online
Yeah, we're, so I'll just go down the line. Commissioner Lawrence,
here.
Commissioner Borden. Here. Commissioner Tate, Commissioner Pepper, Commissioner Wynn, Commissioner Temple, Commissioner Burrows,
Here.
Commissioner Culpepper,
Hello, Francis.
Okay.
hello,
Hey, Francis.
Hi, Francis.
Hey, how are you all?
All right.
Good.
and Commissioner Pike.
I'm here.
Okay, so we got at least a quorum, so we'll just go ahead and get started. We might have a couple others come in. If you want to go ahead and start us, Matthew.
Sure. Let me get my old man goggles out. Or my glasses. All right. The first three items for the public hearing
Or
Are-
that's resolutions, that is.
let's see, they're listed in the public hearing. Yeah, but they are the resolutions. Okay, they are the resolutions for the mobile vending areas. We have 001-21, which is the west side of First Avenue Southeast, north of Second Avenue Southeast, south of Grant Street. The second item, 002-21, is the east side of First Avenue Northeast, north of Alley servicing Alabama Center for the Arts, south of Lee Street. And the third resolution, 003-21, is the north side of Church Street between Bank Street Northeast and Canal Street Northeast.
Do you have, I might add a comment to that one.
Yes, we had another, it's really an option for the 003. So it's really, there was a discussion of whether it should continue to be on Church Street and Bank, but after Commissioner Lawrence went by and noticed how many were in use, we came up with a secondary site, which is the pedestrian mall in front of the old State Bank. And so these three items are really for y'all's discussion, and if you want to recommend them to the city council, this will be the last step in getting the food truck ordinance. So this will be the actual locations where people could apply to bring their food trucks.
And let me say a little bit here. The committee met, and Gary and Eddie and I think Myrna, right? You know, we agreed on the area on Bank Street and on Church Street. Well, I went by there a couple of times after our meeting, and all those parking, or let me say 85% of those parking stalls were in use. So I felt like we were about to create a problem. So I asked Matthew and Joseph to talk to Parks and Rec about the park in Founders Park and
Sure.
see if they would be okay with letting the planning department designate that area and manage that area for food trucks.
And I talked to Jason Lake about it, and he was amiable to that idea, thought it was appropriate. Did not mind if we administered it because it just seems like it would make it a little easier. And then since then, we've had a correspondence with Judge Breland, who said that he's also in favor of it, and that they'll be able to utilize the bathrooms. They will just have to be responsible, but this has sort of been the setup for a while when it comes to food trucks in that area.
So basically what I'm asking is that we propose one or the other, not both. And I guess I'll throw it out to the people that were on the committee first, Myrna, Eddie, and Gary, to see what your comments are on presenting this area in Founders Park instead of on Bank Street.
Yeah, this is Gary.
Fine to me. I haven't been by there and looked at that specific area, but there's room for the trucks to pull in and pull out if another truck was next to them.
Yeah, they would,
Yes, ma'am.
Myrna, they would probably have to back out. or they might even can go in and turn into that drive that goes beside the bank and back
Yeah.
around, but it's still, to me, it's just a much better place, you know, it's bigger sidewalk, there's some benches and tables. It just makes a lot of sense to put it there.
Well, yeah, and like Kent was saying, that the benches and the garbage cans are right on that side. And Joe and I sort of thought that if we limited it to that side near Founders Park, then that would still allow for some traffic movement or pedestrians in the mall. That's kind of why we've limited it to that size. And the only concern I would really have is when we allow the food trucks in, I know they're supposed to be responsible for their own garbage, but I do think that that is something that, as a city, we'll need to make sure that that area stays as clean as it can if we're going to extend this kind of service to the food trucks.
Well, and I think we'd make it very clear to them when they reserved it, that they had to take that trash out.
Yeah.
Even if they use the city
Yeah.
cans, that they would be responsible for emptying them.
And Joe and I, we can add in something to really kind of hammer that point home a little bit.
Okay.
So,
And just to, go ahead.
May I make a comment?
please,
Yes,
Francis.
go ahead.
Well, before we discussed this, it was my problem with the traffic accessibility, what we have on the agenda. I'm not understanding where the food truck will be. Would they be down there in Founders Park and not in the facility, in the area of the old state building parking lot? They would be down in Founders Park.
No, they would actually be on the brick pavered road between Founders Park and the old state bank, which is called the mall.
The
Founders
pedestrian
Park
mall.
Pedestrian mall.
That's right.
Well, I know we need something, we've got to have something on Bank Street, I understand that, and all the agreements for it. But, okay, we're gonna be limited how many, and we still got to worry about the parking, cause that is, you got to remember those people who live in that area, in that, retirement home, park in and out and all that stuff, and all those vendors, the trucks come in, food and all that stuff, to service that area.
That should be out of the way.
It might work, but I still think we will have problems with the traffic and everything.
Do we know the dedicated parking for 807, is that occupied quite a bit, or is it empty? Do people use the streets as opposed to the dedicated spots?
I'll be honest, I feel like they use their parking lot primarily, because when I've gone by after Commissioner Lawrence mentioned that, that parking lot for them, for 807, it seems pretty clear most of the time. That's, I guess to me, I wouldn't anticipate a problem.
I have never seen a vehicle parked in this area that we're presenting. Actually, it may be a no parking area. Does anybody know?
This is not for parking.
Okay, the area we're proposing then in the mall is a no parking area now, so we would not be using any parking.
I was referring to the 807, the retirement home.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spot there.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying, instead of using those 7 or 8 spots that's out on Bank Street, we're proposing to use this in the pedestrian mall instead.
That's right.
Gary, you had a comment?
Well, well, you know, it seems reasonable to me to use that area because it does free up parking for the residents, and especially that new business right there on the corner of Bank and Church. I've also been by there several times in the last few weeks, and there's a lot of people parking there that use those businesses right in there. So I think this would be the least issue for everybody involved in there if the Parks and Rec is okay with that.
And they were okay. In fact, and we've talked to some of the other merchants and restaurant owners down at that area, and I think most of them are excited about the idea of the food trucks because it's going to help generate some more interest in that part of Decatur. So I think the city that at least what people we've run into, Joe and I both agree, I don't think anyone that we've talked to has been against it, have they?
No, yeah, no one who's contacted us about it has
Yeah.
expressed any opposition to it. Yeah, and we have talked as well, Lieutenant Delgado from Police Department and Fire Marshal have both given their sort of comments that they're okay with these spots. What if the commission chooses to designate any of these areas, they would not see any problems from a public safety perspective.
Eddie, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. To be honest, I thought what we were looking at on Bank and Church were in addition to this place. This is the optimal place, in my opinion. And the Forrest comment on 807, I had a relative that stayed there, and there's plenty of parking inside, both between that building and Bowles State Bank, and then on the south side too, there's parking on that side. So I don't see any impact to 807.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's an impact to 807, but there, obviously, a lot of the businesses, and especially the new, I guess it's an engineering firm that's gone in there.
And they got some places to rent out in there.
Yeah, because like I said, I've been by there a couple of times, Gary's been by there a couple of times, and the original spaces that we recommended on Bank and on Church are all pretty much full during the day.
They are.
So now, with this location, which I think is a good location, but just logistically speaking, the trucks would pull in facing north, is that correct?
That's correct.
So the passenger side of the truck is facing Founders Park,
That's correct.
where
Yes,
the people would get their food.
Mhm.
So, is there going to be something that blocks off the driver's side so people aren't walking and milling about on that side if one of the trucks wanted to pull out?
I wouldn't think so, Myrna. That would be their responsibility, just like it would be if they were on any public street.
They just have to watch out and make sure nobody.
Right.
I'm just wondering, since that's the mall area, are people going to congregate on the driver's side of the truck for whatever reason?
Mhm.
Well, and maybe,
Or do we need
you know, maybe that needs to be something we give instruction to the food trucks too, is to police that and keep their customers on the sidewalk and out of that area.
And I will say as a comment to that, we have talked a little bit with Jeremy Bryant from the Health Department, and he's informed us that, while not necessarily a requirement, kind of an industry standard, is for the access and window to be on that side of the passenger side of the vehicle. So in general, when people would be coming up to the trucks, they would be going up to the passenger side, because that's where the windows tend to be on most food trucks.
Any other questions or comments? So, I guess we should just decide now, do we want to present the pedestrian mall over the area on Bank Street and Church Street, or instead of that area?
It's Eddie, my opinion is yes.
Hey, Eddie's yes, Gary's saying yes, I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
Okay. Francis?
I'm a yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so then we're still gonna be, presenting 3 different sites. But the site on Bank Street would be the one in the pedestrian mall area and not Bank Street and Church. Okay.
Okay.
No
All
one
right.
else has any comments or questions on that, on these resolutions? We'll go to the consent agenda.
I've got one quick one, again, Candace, Eddie. It seems like in one of them it says except around the fire hydrant, and another one says except around the ADA parking place. I thought we said that would be standard, you could use basic parking places, but of course if it was not a dedicated parking place, you couldn't use it.
That's
Maybe
right.
I misread it, but I think in one of them it said ADA, the other one didn't. About the fire hydrant. This would like for it to be as simple as possible. They can park in a standard parking place in the story. They can't park in a, by the fire hydrant or off the street, that type of thing.
Right.
Right.
And I agree, because those would be a standard parking stall anyway, so,
Right.
yeah.
And that would be our, you know, I would say that would be the intention of this, will be to allow them in the parking stalls themselves. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yes.
Just
The
a
more
question,
simple it is, the better it is.
Yeah,
yeah, just a question, and it shows a little bit on this, graphic view here of those places on the mall there. There's a couple of trees down through there. You know, these things can get up, you know, fairly high. Is that gonna be an issue there with these trees?
I'm not sure.
This
Well-
area, I don't think so. We walked that other sidewalk across from where the red block is at pretty routinely. I don't think it's a problem, but I haven't looked at it directly in a food truck sitting there.
yeah. And I hadn't either, Gary. It didn't stand out to me that it would be, but, you know, of course, there's no leaves pretty much on them right now,
Yeah,
but,
and I don't know how well we keep those pruned back.
Pruned
for-
back.
and stuff, so,
I guess if it's an issue, we'll just have to deal with it at the time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
can
we get a little
always-
help from Parks and Rec and stuff to,
Yeah,
if it is an issue.
Sounds good.
okay.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other question, then we'll go on to the certificates. Certificate 3522-21, 19.28 acres, currently zoned Ag 1, Pewright McAnally for Matthews and Liverett. The request is to adjust the lot lines of 2 existing tracts of land. There are 4 conditions that need to be met, but seems pretty straightforward. Any questions or thoughts? All right, we'll go to certificate 3523-21, 44.84 acres, currently zoned Ag 1 and Ag 2. Pewright McAnally for Gobble Fight. The request is to consolidate 4 tracts into 1 tract of land. There are 4 conditions to be met. Any concerns or thoughts on that one? Okay. We'll keep rolling along. The next is certificate 3524-21, it's 27 acres, currently zoned Ag 1, Lee Green and Associates for Steve Shelton. The request is to subdivide 1 tract of land of 27 acres into 3 tracts. It has 3 conditions to be met, and essentially this is just a redoing of a certificate that went through in 2019, and while 1 condition was not met, it really wasn't necessary for them to meet it. So we've had a discussion with Jeremy Bryant, and this certificate went through TRC and did not seem to have any troubles as is. Any thoughts on that one? All right, the next one is certificate 3525-21, 1.75 acres. It's currently zoned B2. Pewright McAnally for Cook's Properties. The request is to adjust the lot lines between 2 tracts of land. There are 2 conditions to be met, and that was that. Any thoughts or concerns with this one? Okay. The next up is the Deerfoot Estates Edition 5 Bond Review. It's 7.6 acres, currently zoned R2. Applicant is Kevin Blackwell for Lewis Jones. The request, bond review for completion of public improvements on Newcastle Lane Southwest, located in Deerfoot Estates Subdivision Edition 5. Under the comments, the Planning Commission agreed to give a 6-month extension for completion of the public improvements on Newcastle Lane Southwest at Deerfoot Addition 5 in July of 2020. Mr. Blackwell has confirmed that he will be present, although he is not, because we had to move our meeting. So unfortunately, he had a conflict. But we have had some dialogue with him through emails. And Joe, would you like to explain?
I can give a little bit of information on this one. In July of last year, the commission agreed to give an additional 6 months for the completion of public improvements at Deerfoot Estates Addition 5. We've spoken to the applicant, and the applicant has expressed to us that it's their intention to sell the project. And I think perhaps Chip can give a little bit of information on this, but asked for an extension to allow for time for an agreement to be reached on that. And he has characterized to us his intent in the form of their perhaps confidential business dealings, but we can say that there's a plan that has been discussed.
And also, we do have a bond that is still active until 2022. And after our discussion with Chip this morning, we feel like it could be comfortable that we would still have some maybe leverage over the situation. But as a planning department, I believe we would recommend, I hate to, commissioners can make their own minds up, but we would recommend to give this extension because from our correspondence, it looked like the beginning of May was when they could anticipate this resolving. So that would be another 3-month extension, but we do have the bond. And Chip, is there something else that you'd like to add?
Not really. We talked about this morning about, they sent a fairly detailed email about the status of the negotiations and asked to keep it confidential, which is not a big problem. We can certainly do that. From reading through that email, if the bond was getting ready to expire, then I might have more reservations. And I know the history of this property, and I know that the city's got money tied up in it as well. And we are emphasizing, Joseph and Matthew are emphasizing, our interest in that money that we put out. But given the scope of how they have set out what the status of the negotiations, and with us making the point that they're going to have to complete this, and with the safety net of having the bond still in place, I think an extension to let this potential sale go through will protect the city's interest and get done what we want there.
So if the property is sold, do the new buyers have to get a new bond? Is that a stipulation in the sale contract that they would have to get a new bond, or would the existing bond transfer to the new buyer?
The existing bond would not transfer, but our position in it is that the selling it is not going to eliminate the requirement that be completed, and the new people would have to complete that work. And it would appear that the plans for construction would be pretty quick, and they would do that as part of that. But we would make sure that that was part of the sales agreement.
Okay.
So what are they specifically asking for, 90 days?
There has not been a specific, but they did mention the beginning of May. He felt like this would be through by the beginning of May. And I'm trying to be careful about what we say, but he did mention the beginning of May. So to your question, I would say yes. I would say 90 days is probably a reasonable amount.
So he hadn't requested of us to do anything different than what we have today, is that right?
What do you mean, Gary? I'm not sure I
Well,
understand.
there's not a request here to extend or to do anything, is it?
Well, he is, that's, his request is to extend his
Have we
ability.
got that in writing to the planning department or?
Joe, did we have
We
that
have-
specific?
We have spoken, we haven't had, I guess you could say a specific, but we have discussed that.
So it's
they
just
would like-
verbally?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. Okay, and that might be a good idea to make sure
Yeah.
we've, you know, hammer all this out and something we can,
And we do have that they would like to extend the date. We do have that in writing. They did, as you
So
said.
what, did it say how long or?
As Matthew said, they gave us a May.
just the date. Yeah, you're right, they did not exactly
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
90 days like
Yeah.
a specific.
You're correct.
But I think we extrapolated from that and then them saying, in the beginning part of May, that's why I think we were bringing up the 90
Chip.
days like that.
Chip, Harry, what do we look, as a planning commission, what are we looking at that they're asking us for?
I would treat it as asking for an extension of 90 days. They just asked for an extension in part of the email. It's a fairly lengthy email setting out what they expect, the process to be, and we put 90 days on it because that's what fit what they were asking for. So it would be, what had been 6 months, that term to be lengthened by 3 months.
Okay, so as I get this, the planning department recommends that we extend them 90 days. Legal is okay with that and everything that they have in this email, that the city is still protected to complete this work by somebody, even if they do sell the property.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So the 90 days is to have the improvements completed? Is that what the 90 days is for?
It would be, yes.
No, it would be to,
For the bond, actually, because the new
actually,
person.
at the end of 90 days, we'll know, for sure which, if it's not sold, then the current developer is gonna have to complete it. If it is sold, I presume that part of the agreement will be that, the new developer will complete it. If they are the ones completing it, then we would look at their time on that. But my impression from reading the email was that they would expect that construction to begin almost immediately.
So what you're saying is that we're extending it for 90 days, and then if it sells, they're gonna come in and ask for another extension, because what we have to deal with is completion of the work. And the bond is up to that date. In other words, if the work is not done by this date, then we're gonna call the bond and complete it ourselves. When I say we, I'm talking to the city. So when we extend it 90 days, that's what we're extending. We're extending the deadline on when this work should be complete. So,
I think that's a correct statement, but I think what is more likely is
We have to give something to the other person.
owner, that would still be their requirement. It may well be that the new people, don't finish in that time. There's language in there that suggests they may be able to, but we'll just have to see. And we are protected, until August of 2022 with the bond.
okay, let me ask this. Can the planning commission give the current owner a 90-day extension with the stipulation that if it sells, the new buyer has 60 days to complete the work? Can we do that?
Yeah, I can't see why not.
I don't like
Somebody-
the thing
You
of,
just roll
I don't like
over
the
and
thing
roll
of an
over.
open-ended that,
Cases anyway.
Right.
Somebody's gotta be on the hook for this.
right. And to me, just from what I understand, Chip, make sure I'm understanding this right. Even though he sells the property, the current owner does not get him out of complete, he's still responsible. If the buyer takes over that responsibility.
Correct.
Okay. Well, then I think we've got to tie both parties into it.
Well, what is the current status? When they talk about May, is the property under contract and expected to close in May? Or are they hoping to find a buyer by May?
They are hoping to find a buyer.
Well, they don't even have a buyer.
Without going
There's-
into too much detail, there are two buyers vying for the same property. So
Okay.
they don't know how it's gonna end up.
So they have two prospective buyers,
Correct.
no contract.
Correct.
But let me ask a question. If they have a buyer, would that not eliminate the original buyer bond automatically? Because the bond is for the original buyer, would not be for the new buyer, right?
Yeah, the bond is for it's by the original developer,
Right.
but it's to get the work done on the property.
Right.
And so the bond would remain in place, but I think Kent's suggestion of giving the 90-day extension with the, addition that if it's sold, that the new buyer has to complete within 60 days, I don't see an issue with that.
But somebody, the current owner's bond would stand until that 60 days, or the buyer produces a bond that the city will accept.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay. So that's a lot of verbiage that we've got to get in here, but that's,
Yeah.
But you know, let me ask this. Why would, if you sell the property, why would you want to stay on the bond?
well, I don't think,
And
correct me if I'm wrong, Chip, but I don't think we're letting the current owner off just because he sells it.
Right, somebody's gonna have to, for them to be relieved of their obligation, somebody else is gonna have to accept it.
Accept it, yeah. So Francis, as far as the city's looking at it, it doesn't matter if he sells it or not, he's still responsible to complete it.
Until 2022,
Yeah,
that's when the bond ends.
well,
Unless it's
no, until
extended.
90 days, because that's all we're extending.
Thought he said that the bond went to
Well-
2022.
Yeah, the bond does, but but we're only extending it, we have the option at the end of 90 days.
call it.
To call it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And see, the bond, the reason it was till 2022 was apparently this was what the bank, the institution they dealt with wanted to hand us. That doesn't mean we're obligated
Yeah.
to keep it that long.
Okay, then, I'm gonna sort of state what I feel like we should do. We should, extend the current owner a 90-day extension on the bond. If the property is sold, the buyer has 60 days to complete the work. And the current owner is not relieved of his responsibility until the buyer takes responsibility and provides the city with a bond that we will accept for those 60 days.
Well stated.
Okay? Anybody want to add something to that, or you feel good with that?
Well, I'm just thinking, okay, if the buyer buys the property, is it realistic and even possible for them to have the, sidewalks completed in 60 days?
According to engineering,
It
it's
just seems like a tight time frame. Once I close on the property, now I have the property and I'm gonna get that done in 60 days?
oh, yeah. I'm sure engineering's on here, but I talked to them, and they indicated to me that it's not that big of a project, to be done quickly, and also that the bond has plenty of money in it to complete the work.
Okay. This sounds vaguely familiar to the property on Danville Road,
You're exactly right.
where
Mm-hmm.
the original owner had a bond and then he donated the property and then the new owner got a bond.
And that's exactly right, and the city accepted that bond from the new owners before we let the seller off the hook.
Okay.
Which, are we dealing with that today as well, or not?
No.
Chip
Oh, we
Chip
have
can
the-
update
Yeah, I
about
was
it.
gonna,
I'm sorry, we have the Jubilee House of Prayer.
Yeah, Jubilee House of Prayer, it's not on
Yes.
the agenda, but we tabled it last month.
Yes, I know why I said no.
Ohio State,
Yeah,
State, Illinois, maybe Alabama.
we've been looking at this, and you know, Chip can elaborate a little bit more on the route of action that was selected.
Yeah, what we're gonna be able to do, now we may flex it out some with some kind of agreement or something, but we're gonna file and would have gotten it prepared but for all the snow days. A list pendants, which is generally filed when there's a legal, like there's a lawsuit pending and it puts anybody on notice that may be about to buy the property, that, there is a, problem with the property or that there's a claim against the property. And what we'll be doing in that is, putting anybody on notice who may buy the property that, no building permit is going to be, issued for anything on that property, until the sewer is completed. And so if it just sits there dormant for the rest of the time, nothing will happen. But if anybody ever buys it and wants to, if anybody or a future owner wants to build anything on it, the first thing they're gonna have to do, it'll be filed in probate, is build the sewer.
And just
so
so
is
every,
there a bond on it at that time? I mean, the bond expired, the bank said they weren't gonna renew the bond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the discussion last week was that given the circumstances under which the church, took on the responsibility and now they don't, you know, the line of credit is gone and the line of credit is what was backed in the bond and it's not gonna be renewed, and it appeared to me that I don't know what the right word is, the feeling of the commission was that, there was a hesitance to force the church to do it, and so this was come up with as an alternative.
and to me, this is a great alternative for this piece of property, in my opinion, because, you know, just making somebody put a sewer there just for the sake of putting it there, if they're never gonna build anything on it, is not very wise, really. So this is putting the onus on whoever ever bought the property. They would understand they would have to do that at the time unless one of the adjacent property owners bought it,
right.
and then that
consolidate.
happens.
Yeah.
So to me, this makes more sense. I know it lets the House of Jubilee off the hook, sorta, but it really makes more sense in the long run to do it this way. What, Gary, this is sort of your expertise, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that because that piece of property is really not developable.
No, it's really not.
Whoever owns the property adjoining it really is the one that really needs the property, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so.
So it's a good solution to the problem. Okay.
What, did the city acquire the property back, or what happened?
Do what? Say that again, Francis?
Church still owns
What
it.
happened on this property since the bond, did the city acquire the property back, or what?
No, the church still owns it. They're just, basically, the church will own it and they're off the hook, basically, to put sewer on it, but if they ever sell it, the buyer's gonna have to do it, or the church is gonna have to do it to be able to sell it.
Right, but they can't outright. Wait, okay, it's good, I'm not mistaken, need to say this, but you remember when we first had this issue?
Yep.
Yeah,
I asked you then, we said no, they were used for parking lot, they're not gonna build. Remember, I asked you then, it does not make sense to connect to the, put a sewer on there if you don't do anything with it.
yeah. No, and
But
you're
you
exactly
don't know
right,
that.
Francis. That's what you were saying that day.
Yeah. But you don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know what people's
And
in.
if they ever want to do anything on there, of course, I understand to do the sewage, I have no problem with that. But if the configuration of that property is such a mess, it's hard with the TVA easement, it's hard to do anything with.
That's right. You're exactly right. So this is the best way to resolve this whole problem.
If
So-
they sell it, whoever buys, you can make the requirement, if they ever build, that they have to connect to it.
That's right.
Great, that's a good solution.
Yep. Okay.
And it doesn't have to just be sold, if the church decides to do something with it, they would have to do it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The last thing was the vacation 527-21. Go ahead.
We need to go back to Deerfoot. I didn't know we transitioned away from that. We
Oh.
kind of transitioned to, this other question. But there's an agreement between the present developer in Deerfoot and the city of Decatur. We need to have them certified that they have made the new purchaser, whoever that may be, they've certified that they've made them aware of this agreement, because it does impact the feasibility of getting these improvements put in place. So,
Okay, so is that something that we as a commission need to put in our motion, or is that just something that legal and planning needs to inform them?
it needs to be part of the planning commission,
Condition on it.
minutes, and one of the conditions
Okay,
Okay.
of extending the bond. Or I'm sorry, not extending the bond, but giving them more time, to do the improvement.
okay, so we're gonna add that condition.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
And thank you, excuse me for interrupting, but
No.
I'm afraid we get too far away, and I would.
No, thank you so much, Herman.
thank you, sir. Okay,
Last item, vacation 527-21, 0.07 acres, currently zoned R6. Pewright McAnally for Bruce and Edith Truog. The request is vacate 0.07 acre portion of an alley behind Harbor View Court Northeast. No conditions to be met. Any comment?
any questions or comments?
All right.
All right.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, one thing, the minutes, we deal with that?
I talked with Kim, and we had a little discrepancy about, not a bad discrepancy, but
I'll just bring this up on the minutes. It's not a big thing. It's in the beginning part. It's recorded that I used the new intro last month that I didn't. So it's just gonna be a correction to the intro.
that's it.
You know, nothing involved any of the cases or requests or motions or voting is different. It's just on page 1. I used the new script for it there. So I'm just gonna state with changes made, okay? And then real quickly, last thing, the new script, has anybody got anything they wanna add to that, or is everybody pretty much good with it? Okay, no comments, so I'll take that, we're good with it. All right,
Okay,
so we got about 2 minutes?
is that right?
2 minutes,
Yep.
2-minute recess. Yes,
So, on the mobile truck deal,
uh-huh,
is there gonna be a limit on how many trucks can move, can use any of these 3 spots?
yeah, it'd be limited by space available.
That's right.
Yeah. And all of them will hold at least 2. You know, the ones down by the farmer market, they could probably get 4 or 5 in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be limited by space available.
That's a nice space.
Yeah, that's a real good space down there.
Can't, I'm gonna bring up the bond, the Jubilee right after the Deerfoot then, since
Yeah.
it was tabled?
Right.
Okay.
And you got that condition.
Yes,
Okay.
for the Jubilee.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you wanna read, I'm sorry, one last thing. Do you wanna state what your summation was when it comes for a,
Yeah, in the motion.
yes,
I'll clear it up in the motion.
okay.
Yeah.
Were there any other spots looked at, as considered for, 3 spots doesn't seem like very many, and it seems like it's limited to downtown.
Well, because that's where we have the most public space is downtown, you know, the new ordinance allowed it in a lot of, private property. So like, you know, out on the Beltline and all, that's the Decatur Planning Commission. I'd like to call us to order. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Here.
Commissioner Borden,
Here,
Commissioner Tate,
Here,
Commissioner Pepper, Commissioner Wynn, Commissioner Temple,
Here,
Commissioner Burrows,
Here,
Commissioner Culpepper, Commissioner Pike,
here,
Okay, we do have a quorum. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from last month's meeting other than those that have already been discussed? Not, do I have a motion to accept these minutes?
motion to approve.
And a second?
Eddie, have a second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Borden, a second by Mr. Pike. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, state aye. Okay, so the minutes have been approved. Okay, I'd like to take a moment to introduce the Planning Commission members and give a brief description of what we do and how this meeting is conducted. The commission has 9 members. 8 of us are volunteers appointed by the mayor for a 6-year term. We also have 1 member from the city council. My name is Kent Lawrence. I serve as chairman. Gary Borden, who is here with me, is our vice chairman. Dan Culpepper is the secretary. Other members are Francis Tate, Myrna Burrows, Joseph Wynn, Eddie Pike, Forrest Temple, and the council member is Hunter Pepper. Members of the public seeking to get an item considered by the Planning Commission must send an application to the Planning Department no less than 21 days prior to the meeting. Unless otherwise specified, all applications for development approvals are the result of a submittal by a private citizen seeking some change in their own property. In making our decisions, a primary tool used by the Planning Commission is the One Decatur Comprehensive Plan. This is the general community plan for the city of Decatur and was adopted through a public process to formalize a vision for the future of the community that represents the interests and will of all the Decatur residents. In many of the cases, the Planning Commission does not have the final say. Zoning, annexations, vacations, sidewalk cafe license, and resolutions all require additional approval from the city council before they become official. In these cases, the role of the Planning Commission is to advise the city council. The first part of today's meeting is a public hearing, and each item will be read separately and voted on after comments and discussion. If you wish to comment on an item, we ask that you come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, then make your comments. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. If you're watching online, you can email us at planning@decatur-al.gov. That is planning@decatur-al.gov. Please include your name and address, the case name or number. Please limit your comments to 850 words or less. Your email will be read with the case when the case is being addressed. Today's public hearing will have a resolution for special mobile vending areas. We will vote to recommend or not recommend this to the city council. Before we hear the first case, I move that the items on the agenda today are essential and minimal to the continuing function of our community as recommended by the Technical Review Committee. And I make a motion. Do I have a second?
So moved.
Second by Mr. Borden. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Yes.
Commissioner Borden.
Yes.
Commissioner Tate.
Yes.
Commissioner Temple.
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows.
Yes,
And Commissioner Culpepper, it shows you're on the call, but I didn't catch you in the quorum. Are you on?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
have you not heard me?
No?
No, this is the first time we've heard from you.
Oh, okay. I was double muted, I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Glad you're here with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, and Commissioner Pike?
Yes.
Okay. So that is unanimous. Please call the first resolution.
Okay, first one is special mobile vending area 001-21. It's 0.07 acres. It's currently in an M1 zone. The applicant is City of Decatur. It's located west side of First Avenue Southeast, north of 2nd Street Southeast, and south of Grant Street Southeast. The request to designate street parking along this stretch of First Avenue Southeast as special mobile vending areas in which mobile food vending units may operate pursuant to the requirements of City Code Section 25, Article 10. Mobile vending units seek to operate in this location must request approval to do so from the City Planning Department. The One Decatur future land use has this as urban edge mixed use. One Decatur street typology, First Avenue Southeast is a local street. Under the comments, the Mobile Vending Unit Subcommittee has recommended that TRC, as well as the Planning Commission, consider this area for recommendation to the council. This area can be altered at the request of the Technical Review Committee.
Okay, and there's no
No conditions.
No conditions.
Point of information, the relocation, that doesn't
Yeah,
apply.
it doesn't apply.
Right. No portion of Gordon Drive Southeast is being proposed here. The area proposed is First Avenue Southeast only. And if you are looking at the map, it does look like it goes on to Gordon Drive, but it's not. It is the portion underneath the overpass.
And this is on the west side of First Avenue.
Yes, sir.
So, do we have any emails from the public?
No, sir.
Okay. So if we have no comments from the public, do we have a motion to recommend to the council to approve this section?
Motion
Motion
to,
to recommend.
second?
Okay, motion by Mr. Temple, second by Mr. Borden. Any comments or questions from anyone on the commission? All right, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lauren,
Yes.
Commissioner Borden,
Yes.
Commissioner Tate,
Yes,
Commissioner Temple,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes,
Commissioner Culpepper,
Yes.
Commissioner Pike,
Yes.
and Commissioner Wynn, did you just join the call?
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
next
Next
resolution, please.
Next item, special mobile vending area 002-21. It's .04 acres. It's currently located in a B5 zone. The applicant is City of Decatur. It's located east side of First Avenue Northeast, north of Alley, servicing Alabama Center for the Arts, and south of Lee Street Northeast. The request to designate street parking along the stretch of First Avenue Northeast as a special mobile vending area in which mobile food vending units may operate pursuant to the requirements of City Code Section 25, Article 10. Mobile vending units seeking to operate in this location must request approval to do so from the City Planning Department. The One Decatur future land use has this as urban core downtown. One Decatur street typology. First Avenue Southeast is a local street. Under comments, the mobile vending unit subcommittee has recommended TRC as well as the Planning Commission consider this area for recommendation to the council. This area can be altered at the request of the Technical Review Committee. Note, mobile vending unit subcommittee initially also recommended an area south of the alley. However, further review determined that a fire hydrant was located there. The subcommittee expressed that area should not be so close as to block hydrants, so the map has been adjusted slightly. And there are no conditions and no point of information. That one doesn't apply.
Okay, do we have any emails, public?
No emails.
Okay, there being no comments from the public, do we have a motion to recommend this to the council?
motion,
Motion by Mr. Temple. Who was the second?
Me and Marta said.
Okay.
At the same time, and I
Okay.
said-
So motion by Mr. Temple, second by Mrs. Burrows. Any comments or questions from anyone on the commission? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lauren,
Yes.
Commissioner Borden,
Yes.
Commissioner Tate,
yes,
Commissioner Temple,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
yes,
Commissioner Culpepper,
Yes.
Commissioner Pike,
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. And the third item, Kent, are we, should I just read what we originally had for the Bank Street, or should
No.
we just move on to the
Yeah,
pedestrian?
just move on to pedestrian mall.
Okay. So the final area will be special mobile vending area 003-21. It will be located in the pedestrian mall in between the Old State Bank and Dyken Park. The applicant is City of Decatur. The request is to use the pedestrian mall for mobile food vending pursuant to City Code Section 25, Article 10. The The Technical Review Committee recommended looking at designating a portion of the pedestrian mall in front of the Old State Bank as an alternative proposal to the original map that we had, due to the fact that parking spaces in this area are more frequently used than those at the other proposed sites. This could include southeastern side of the pedestrian mall along the curb closest to Founders Park, providing the vending units don't block the ADA access ramps.
Okay, and the other comment I would make here that even though this falls under Park and Rec, this is going to be handled by the planning department, just like the other areas that we designated instead of Parks and Rec.
Correct.
Any other Parks and Rec properties would still be handled by them.
Correct.
Okay, do we have any emails from the public?
No, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion to recommend this to the council?
I'm off a motion.
A motion by Ms. Tate,
Second.
second by Mr. Borden. Any comments or questions from anyone on the commission? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Borden,
Yes.
Commissioner Tate,
Yes,
and Commissioner Wynn, are you, okay, Commissioner Temple,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
yes,
Commissioner Culpepper,
Yes.
Commissioner Pike,
Yes.
and I apologize, I hadn't seen, Commissioner Wynn had sent a message about his vote on the last one, a vote a yes.
Okay.
On 002. And if you're able to send in your votes when we're voting on this, I will add those into the minutes if the.
Okay. So Joseph, if you can send a vote on this one, and he'll add it there as well. Before we move on, I just want to thank everybody that was involved in this, the committee and people from planning. I think this is a good thing for us moving forward. Now we'll move to the consent agenda portion. This is the part of the agenda that the Planning Commission has the final decision on and does not require a public hearing. These items are read together and voted on as a group. Today we have these types of requests: certificates to subdivide. This is a one-step process to subdivide no more than 3 lots or to consolidate lots. A survey is required. We also will hear a request to extend a couple of construction performance bonds. If you wish to comment on any of the consent agenda items, you may do so after they have all been read.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. All right, the first one up is Certificate 3522-21, 19.28 acres. It's currently zoned Ag 1. The applicant is Pewright McAnally for Matthews Liverit. Location of property is 702 and 706 Busby Road, Southwest. The request adjusts the lot lines between 2 existing tracts to create 2 tracts of 18.15 and 0.86 acres. Proposed land use, residential low density. 1 Decatur future land use, residential low density. 1 Decatur street typology. Busby Road, Southwest is a local street. There are 4 conditions to be met. Signed sealed survey with 3 state plane coordinates prior to recording. Recording fees show right-of-way / dedicated right-of-way where necessary for Busby Road Southwest. 4 signed property owner request letter. 1 point of information: any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense. Okay, and the next one is Certificate 3523-21. It's 44.84 acres, currently zoned Ag 1 and Ag 2. The applicant is Pewright McAnally for Gobble Fight. It's located west of South Chapel Hill Road Southwest and south of Napa Valley Way Southwest. The request consolidate 4 tracts into 1 tract of land, 44.84 acres. The 1 Decatur future land use is rural edge, agriculture, and residential low density. 1 Decatur street typology: South Chapel Hill Road Southwest is an urban collector, and Napa Valley Way Southwest is a local street. There are 4 conditions to be met: signed and sealed survey with 3 state plane coordinates, recording fees, a 40-foot easement, 20 feet on both sides of the center line per Joe Wheeler and EMC lines. Number 4, 30-foot easement, 15 feet on both sides of center line for a single phase line located on the southwest portion of the certificate as per Joe Wheeler approval. All right. The next one is certificate 3524-21. It's 27 acres. It's located in Ag 1 zone. The applicant is Lee Green and Associates for Steve Shelton. It's located at 515 and 519 Woodall Road Southwest. Request subdivide one tract of 27 acres into 3 tracts of 23.89, 1.39, and 1.75 acres. Proposed land use, residential low density. One Decatur future land use, residential low density. One Decatur street typology. Woodall Road is a minor arterial. Under comments, after 1 year of not having conditions met, a certificate becomes inactive. This was conditionally improved as certificate 3456-19 in July of 2019. Since more than a year has elapsed and conditions were not met, it needs a new approval. Under conditions to be met, 1, recording fees. 2, need a copy of the deed. 3, a 30-foot easement, 15 feet on each side of a center line for single phase line. Point of information, any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense. Previous conditions were recording fees, deed, copies of septic tank permits for tract A and B, and shows special flood hazard area on survey. A point of information stated, review certificate 1533-89, book 1316, page 312, and verify that those lots are not impacted. 4, special flood hazard area is not delineated. Okay, and the last certificate, 3525-21. It's 1.75 acres. It's currently zoned B2. The applicant is Pewright McAnally for Cook's Properties, located at 119 6th Avenue Southeast. The request adjusts the lot lines between 2 tracts of 0.37 and 1.38 acres to create 2 tracts of 0.80 and 0.95 acres. The One Decatur future land use, urban core downtown. One Decatur street typology, 6th Avenue Northeast is a principal arterial. Lee Street Northeast is a minor arterial. Holly Street Northeast is a local street. 2 conditions to be met, signed sealed survey with 3 state plane coordinates. Number 2, recording fees. And under points of information, any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense. Okay. Now we're going to move on to Deerfoot, to the bond section. First up is Deerfoot Estates Edition 5 bond review. It's 7.6 acres, currently zoned R2. The applicant is Kevin Blackwell for Lewis Jones. It's located at the end of Deerfoot Way Southwest. The request, bond review for completion of public improvements on Newcastle Lane Southwest, located in Deerfoot Estates Subdivision Edition 5. The proposed land use, single-family residential. One Decatur future land use, mixed neighborhood. One Decatur street typology, Deerfoot Way Southwest is an urban collector. Under comments, Planning Commission agreed to give a 6-month extension for completion of the public improvements on Newcastle Lane Southwest at Deerfoot Edition 5 in July of 2020. Mr. Blackwell has confirmed that, okay, we'll leave that out. 1 point of information, any relocation utilities will be at owner's expense. Under the conditions to be met, this is where we'll include that if approved, the Planning Commission will be giving a 90-day extension to the current bondholder to give time for a possible sale. If sold, the new owner will have to establish a bond before we can release the old one, and the old bondholder must inform the new bondholder. Oh, I'm sorry, that's on the other one that condition was.
No, it's not. It's this
It
one.
was, okay,
Yeah.
good.
You're
Yes, that the new bondholder must inform, the old bondholder must inform the new bondholder that this bond exists, and once informed, if they purchase the land, they will have 60 days to put in these public improvements. Does anyone else, Kent, have a?
That's correct. I just sort of clarify that we will hold the current property owner's bond until still, even if it sells, until the improvements are made or the buyer presents a bond to the city that we will accept.
Very good.
And then there's something else about some conditions that they need to be aware of with the city on these other lots, right?
That the first 3 lots are, the proceeds are to be sent to the city, is that correct?
The statement of the condition was that the new purchaser needs to be made aware of all obligations to the city on behalf of the developer. I believe is the way that the condition was
Yeah,
requested.
thank you.
Okay?
All right, and then we'll move on to the next bond.
Yes.
It's the bond from last session that was tabled. The bond review is for sewer extension for Jubilee House of Prayer. It is in a B2 zone. The applicant is Jubilee House of Prayer. It's located north of 2418 Danville Road Southwest. The request, review letter of credit for $30,000 for the extension of sewer in compliance with the conditions of certificate to subdivide 2172-97. This letter of credit was issued in 2019 and renewed for 1 year in February of 2020. And as a result, it is set to expire on February 19th. The applicant signed an agreement with the City of Decatur in February of 2019, agreeing to complete the work within 3 years. This would give them until February 19th of 2021. It is the 1 Decatur Future Land Use Flex Employment Center. 1 Decatur Street typology, Linwood Road Southwest is a local street. Under conditions to be met, this will need to be, I don't know how to state it exactly.
Well, why don't we get legal to state it for us?
Yes, please, thank you.
The way I would think is that, in lieu of calling the bond from the, Jubilee House of Prayer, the city will, be filing, lit pendens, that's 2 words, LIS, space PENDENS, in probate court, notifying any future developer that before any building permit will be issued, the sewer must be complete.
Okay?
Good, thank you, Chip. Okay, and there are no emails.
Okay. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to any of these requests? We have no emails. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve all these requests?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. Borden. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Are there any comments or questions from anyone on the commission?
Let me ask you this.
Okay, Fran?
Do we also need to include what, the attorney said, notify any future development and build?
Right, I think that's how he stated it. Any future, building permits would require the sewer to be put in. So before anybody could get a permit to do anything with that property, they would have to extend the sewer to it. Does that answer your question, Ms. Tate?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lawrence.
Yes.
Commissioner Borden.
Yes.
Commissioner Tate.
Yes.
Commissioner Temple. Commissioner Burrows.
Yes.
Commissioner Culpepper.
Yes.
Commissioner Pike. Commissioner Pike,
Eddie, are you still with us?
He looks like he's muted.
Eddie, did you vote?
well, we do have 6 yeses.
Okay. So we have, a majority voted yes, so all of these requests are approved. Okay, the last part of the meeting is other business. These are items that go to the city council for final approval, but do not require a public hearing. Today, we have a vacation request. This is a request to vacate public right-of-way or easements and requires proposal to the city council.
Okay. Vacation 527-21, it's 0.07 acres, currently zoned R6. The applicant is Pewright McAnally for Bruce and Edith Truog. It's located behind 3, 5, and 7 Harborview Court Northeast. The request is a vacation of 0.07 acre portion of an alley behind Harborview Court Northeast. The 1 Decatur future land use, riverfront mixed use, 1 Decatur street typology. Harborview Court Northeast is a local street. There are no conditions to be met and only 1 point of information. Any relocation of utilities will be at the owner's expense.
Any emails?
No emails.
Okay. Do we have a motion to recommend this for approval to the council?
Motion.
This Eddie, I'm back in.
Okay. So a motion by Ms. Tate, second by Mr. Pike. Any questions or comments from anyone on the commission? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Lawrence,
Yes.
Commissioner Borden,
Yes.
Commissioner Tate,
Yes.
Commissioner Wynn, Commissioner Temple,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Culpepper,
Yes.
Commissioner Pike,
Yes.
Okay, so they have all been, or this will be recommended to the council for approval. Okay, the last piece of business we have to take up is the 1 Decatur 2021 annual review. Everyone was emailed a copy of that. I'd just like to open up right now to see if there's any questions or comments anyone on the commission would like to make about this. I would like to at least mention the people that are on this 1 Decatur Review Committee. This committee meets monthly to discuss items in the 1 Decatur plan, discuss things that have been accomplished and things that have not been accomplished and all those kind of things. Members of this committee are Wally Terry, Grant Thompson, Forrest Temple, George Barron, Terry Welch, Jody Vick, Noel King, Jennifer Edwards, Mary Ann Floyd, Ronnie Duke, Stuart Tubbs, and Joseph from the planning department represents it. And I'd like to thank everybody on that committee for the time and hard work that they gave and will continue to give to the 1 Decatur Review, and especially Joseph for his work in putting this plan together and writing it up for us. I think, I'm still super excited about the 1 Decatur plan and the results that the city is making in this, in the plan every year. And if you have time to look through it, you can see that a lot of things were accomplished again this year. And, Decatur is just moving forward. It's exciting to be a part of it. Does anybody like to make a comment or have a question about anything in the review? All right. If we have no further business, we are adjourned. Thank you all and be safe.